as it was nearly my baby brother's birth present. He was obsessed with Sarah and Duck. I had a conviction that perhaps he'd love a Sarah and Duck tape. Unfortunately, I've used up a lot of my pocket money. I couldn't afford a tape. But on the day before the birthday, I heard a doorbell ring. I ran to the door. As I unbolted the door, nobody was there. As I looked down, it was a tape. I grabbed it and examined it. It was a Sarah and Duck tape. It had 7 episodes on season 1. And as the day had come, he opened all his presents, and his favorite was the Sarah and Duck tape. He was so eager to watch the 7 episodes. I don't even know much about that show, but his room is almost Sarah and Duck themed. He even sometimes carries around a stuffed duck. And 3 days later, Mom and Dad go to their 23rd anniversary. I put on the tape to the TV, and I take a shower. I hear him watching. He must have been watching all 7 today. When I put on my towel to dry off, I hear a loud, terrifying sound. I scurry down to check, and he was slapping his hands onto his face. I look at the TV, and a horrifying image of Sarah, in an ugly red filter, with black substance racing down her eyeballs, with no mouth at all. The theme song was on backwards. I turned off the TV immediately. I tried to rewind the tape to a different episode that's pleasant and acceptable. As he calms down, I soon think about that 7th episode. Was this a hacked episode some kid made? As it was 8 o'clock at night, I tucked my brother in his bed and left. I then grabbed the tape and put it on my computer. I put the 7th episode on. It did start out fine and enjoyable. Sarah and Duck were playing with a kite, and there was faint static in the background. It was flying in the sky. It then fell down dramatically, and the kite was gone. It cut to a new scene. Sarah and Duck were crying in the living room. The whimpering sounded so realistic and horrific. It disgusted me. And Sarah then had black substance dripping down her eyes. Sarah's mouth was open and there were no teeth, nor tongue. Just black void. Soon it cut to another scene. Sarah was staring intently at the viewers, and her skin slowly faded to red. And there was no sound now, except for faint static. And it showed now nothing, just black background with static. And I heard somebody stab another with a knife, and screaming in the background. And the knife was pulled out. And I heard a small quack, and soon more screams as the knife was. And it showed the duck on the floor with a hammer hitting him in the head. And the same sound again. The blood looked very real, and the screaming was fading out. And it showed Sarah holding the hammer, and Duck on the floor deceased. The static grew louder, and a character named Scooter Boy came in. He then witnessed Sarah killing Duck. He screamed so loud, and the static was even louder than his screams. And it cut to black void, glitching out. It showed Sarah talking to the viewers. My heart dropped to my stomach. I wanted to destroy my computer, and the same image as the first one at the start appeared, and said, "Life is homicide," and the tape popped out. I was so disturbed at what I've just observed. I wanted to just start crying, but I didn't. 2 weeks had passed, and my brother forgot about the episode. And so, did I until something horrible had happened. I found my brother screaming in his room. As I went to check, he was on the floor with his shirt taken off, and the abdominal organs below the rib cage were ripped out, and were on the floor. He was screaming, in so much pain. And on the ceiling, something was spelled with my own brother's blood. Life is homicide.